AAAWWWUUBBIS. AAAWWWUUBBIS. AAAWWWUUBBIS is an acronym, and it represents subordinate conjunctions. Subordinate conjunctions can join a dependent clause and an independent clause into one sentence. The most common subordinate conjunctions are as, although, after, when, whenever, while, until, unless, because, before, if, since. When writers start a sentence with an AAAWWWUUBBIS word, the sentence requires a comma in the middle of the sentence. And you might notice I used an AAAWWWUUBBIS word in this particular sentence. I started with the word when. Therefore, I know this sentence requires a comma in the middle. And look at that. I have a comma in the middle of the sentence. When writers start a sentence with an AAAWWWUUBBIS word, the sentence requires a comma in the middle of the sentence. So a little bit about subordinate conjunctions and complex sentences. An independent clause is a sentence containing a subject, verb, and a complete thought with ending punctuation. An independent clause can stand alone as a sentence. So, for example, Steve excels in the classroom. I know an independent clause is a full and complete sentence. It has a verb, it also has a subject, and it has a complete thought with ending punctuation. The verb here, when I look at this, excels. Someone, something excels. So the verb is excels. Well, someone excels in the classroom, and that happens to be Steve. Steve is the subject. Steve excels in the classroom. This is a simple sentence. As writers, we always want to make sure that we have varying sentence structure. And that's why we encourage you to write complex sentences. A complex sentence requires a subordinate conjunction. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the dependent clause, which is part of a complex sentence. A dependent clause contains a subject and a verb, but does not express a complete thought. It cannot stand alone as a sentence. So my example sentence for you is, because Steve studies regularly. Well, I feel like there's more to this. I need to know more about because Steve studies regularly, because what? It's clearly not a complete sentence. It does have a subject and a verb, Steve studies, but we don't know because he studies regularly what? Tell me more. It's a dependent clause. It depends on the rest of the sentence. So because I'm starting my sentence with the word because, I know I'm going to need a comma in the middle of it, and I'm going to wrap up with my independent clause, he excels in the classroom. Because Steve studies regularly, he excels in the classroom. And yes, I have my subject and I have my verb. The second half of the sentence is my independent clause. The first half of the sentence, because Steve studies regularly, is my dependent clause. I like to think about it as a mother and a baby relationship. This sentence right here, he excels in the classroom, is the mother. And this portion of the sentence, because Steve studies regularly, is dependent on the mother. It's dependent on the mother sentence. So, AAAWWWUUBBIS. When you start a sentence with an AAAWWWUUBBIS word, AAAWWWUUBBIS words, as, although, after, when, whenever, while, until, unless, because, before, if, since. When you start a sentence with an AAAWWWUUBBIS word, you know you need a comma in the middle of the sentence.